top. But unfortunately, there is still one thing we've overlooked here, and that is that the line, the dotted line, probably doesn't actually slice through the middle as it looks on our rectangle right now. This is probably more what it's like. Unfortunately, what often happens is new drugs that are coming out work really well for people that already have something that works really well. So we are going to guess that, and for example, on the far left, we have people that are more intolerant to the drugs that are already out there. Maybe a good percentage of them are going to be more intolerant to this drug as well. If it's something very different, that might not be the case, but chances are, unfortunately, that the people that need this drug the most are going to be least helped by it. And the people that really need it are the people on the right-hand side there that have found absolutely nothing to help with their migraine attacks. Then unfortunately, the chances are that very few of them will actually be helped by this new drug. And hopefully there will be a few. Maybe if it's something really drastically different, there may be a much higher percentage. But unfortunately, a lot of people try many, many things and cannot find anything that works. And I think one of the major reasons for that is that a lot of people's migraine attacks are triggered by a number of different things. And some of those things may be external, some of them may be internal. And it takes a long time to track down all of those different things. Medical conditions that are rare, medical conditions that most doctors or even neurologists aren't going to look for. So those people need to solve a number of problems before they'll actually see a reduction in their migraine attacks. And I think it will happen, but they are definitely a lot harder to treat. So one new drug targeting one specific thing in the body is less likely to help them. So now we're down maybe to 3 or 5% of migraine sufferers that will actually be really the ones that will benefit from this drug. Now, there's a lot of things to consider here that we haven't talked about that you need to look at when you're reading about a new drug coming out. For example, are there specific symptoms that this new drug will target? Maybe someone has doesn't have much of a problem with nausea, but they have a lot of problems with dizziness. Well, does this drug really help with dizziness? As we've said all the way through, how different is this drug? Is it a variation on another drug, which of course can definitely help new people that haven't been helped by the old types, or is it something really radically different that might help a really different subset of people? Is this a drug based on newer discoveries? For example, some people are still out there trying to sell drugs or supplements that seem to help with things that are not really basic issues with migraine, for example. We once thought that migraine was just a vascular condition and just had to do with the blood vessels, and so we targeted a lot of things with the blood vessels. Or next we thought about serotonin and thought, well, if we target serotonin, that might be a good thing. But a lot of the newer drugs that are coming out now are based on newer research and new discoveries, and so they have a better chance of success. Now, before we leave our rectangle here, and before I leave you all completely discouraged, it's not really all bad. I want us to have a realistic idea of what some of these numbers mean, but we need to recognize a few things. First of all, some of these clinical trials are specifically targeted more towards, for example, the right-hand side of the rectangle. Some trials specifically target patients who have tried, usually not who have tried, a couple of dozen things. Usually it's just 3 or 4, but still that does get us a little more onto the right-hand side of the square. So depending on the trial, things may be better. It's good to look at what kind of people were studied. Were they male or female? Was it a large group, a small group? Things like that. We need to remember as well that every new discovery of a drug or a supplement that works or treatment, every new discovery that we make expands our knowledge of chronic daily headache or cluster or migraine or tension type headache, whatever it is, and gives us more insight into what treatments in the future might work, what direction we should take our research in the future. And so even if it helps a small number of people, it's still a great benefit and will have a much wider benefit than just those few people that it helps. Also remember that if you are someone that really needs this drug, there is still a fairly good percentage of you that could be helped. For example, if you are having major side effects with the drugs you have, or you are really having trouble finding something that will work for you, in that subset of people, there's a much higher percentage of people that this will help. So even if the percentages are fairly low, the new treatment or drug or whatever it may help you. And so take a look at the clinical trials that come out, take a look at the numbers, take a look at the information that you get, and be realistic about it. Don't spend all your time waiting for the next thing to come out when there are dozens, hundreds of things and combinations that you could try. So don't put all your hope in the new drugs that are coming out, but do recognize that there is a good chance that new discoveries and new treatments that are coming out will help you. I guess if I were to summarize, what I would want to tell you is, when you see these numbers and this information about a new clinical trial that comes out, be realistic about the percentages. Take them with a grain of salt. But at the same time, use some of the things we've talked about today to investigate and to think about who this drug might be good for. Is this something that might be really good for you? And be aware of what's coming. But at the same time, don't spend all your time waiting for something new to come out, because there are hundreds of things you can try, combinations, new things you can do that may help you right now. And so don't put all your hope in the new things coming out, but at the same time realize that there is hope of new treatments and new research that is giving us new insight into how we can help one another fight migraine, cluster headache, tension type headache, chronic daily headache, whatever it is that you might be dealing with. Thanks very much for listening. I hope this has been a help to you as you continue to be informed about the new research, the new treatments that are coming out. Hope you have a real healthy day. This is James from Headache and Migraine News. Bye for now.